In terms of video game merchandise, nothing is cooler than the stuff that brings the game's world to life. While stuff like figures, plushes, toilet seat covers, etc. are cool, it's even cooler when it seems like something's pulled right out of the game's world. And companies know that very well. Like there's a reason Nintendo brings those Smash replicas to E3 every year. In fact, many high-end collectible lines do this idea, like Hasbro's Marvel Legends, Star Wars The Black Series, Creator Inc.'s Game Theory, etc. But one series that's of course dipped its toe in the water is Sonic the Hedgehog. Considering his over 30-year run now, there's a fair amount of attempts to make Sonic's world a reality, which is why I'm here today. So look at some of the coolest real-life Sonic merch. I'm gonna go through Sonic's past and look at all the props, clothes, and anything that tries to start the dimensional merge. I won't be counting any cheap, boring stuff though, like Halloween costumes, or any random t-shirts that have a giant tan circle on it, or mascots and statues, because those are just kinda obvious. And before we start, the channel's really been popping off quite a bit lately, and it's all been amazing. Thank you guys so much. We hit 5K just a little over a week before we hit 6, that's insane. And if we're gonna reach my goal of 10 by the end of the year, you better subscribe right now or I swear to God. But anyway, without further ado, let's start. Firstly, with what's easily Sonic's most iconic design, his shoes. Without a doubt being Sonic's trademark in design, his shoes have of course been brought to life several times. Firstly, with what's probably the most well-known instance, GE. In 2017, they released these slippers based off Sonic's iconic footwear. And gotta say, these are top tier. Like, they're great quality and are pretty cool in this chibi style. Well, I mean, there really wasn't a way for them not to be while also letting someone put their foot inside them, but it's still cool. Like, basically any Sonic fan of any age can find enjoyment in these. They're just super fun and such a funny, perfect piece of merch. Like, honestly, can you imagine a world without these things? On the topic of plush shoes, a company that did this even before GE was the British clothing line Drop Dead. In 2016, they had a 25th anniversary collaboration with Sonic, which resulted in tons of exclusive merch. Included with all the t-shirts, hoodies, and hats were these bad boys. They're very similar to the GE ones, but seem to be a tad higher in quality. But one difference with these is that they made the sole of them red for some reason. And beyond those, this promotion was just sick. Like, this stuff slaps so hard, and they even gave you a free little Chaos Emerald with every purchase. Those would be cool to have now. But anyway, I'm getting off track. Speaking of those though, one interesting tidbit about these was that there was going to be an earlier version made by Sega Prize Europe. These were supposed to come out all the way back in 2009, however they ended up getting shelved. It kind of sucks because honestly these look pretty based. They're very similar to the GE ones, but as you can see they resemble the Sega Prize Europe plush's shoes really well, with the same blocky feel. Pretty sad these never came out. Massive L. Still on the topic of Sonic footwear, these pair of shoes released in Japan by the company Nippon. Gotta say these are pretty based. Unlike the previous ones which try to mimic Sonic's cartoony ass shoes, these go for a much more casual look, which honestly works really well. It helps distinguish these from the others. And beyond that, these are just so clean looking. Like, just look at these, they're so nice and high quality just by looking at these pics. They got that clean red line running through, the super shiny buckle, and the green hill box. Though they did put this fat logo on the back, but I guess it could be worse, at least it's just embroidered in. Plus the absolute Chads gave us a free acrylic Sonic standee with every purchase. If we go back a few years though, we have this pair that kinda counts, the Sonic Rush Converse shoes. Released as a promotion for the game by Sega of Europe, these guys are kinda Sonic shoes. Like, they're obviously trying to be Sonic shoes without trying to be Sonic shoes, so I guess they count. But beyond that, they got a nice Rush logo on the side, as well as the Converse logo. These are pretty hard to find though, since they were so limited. And beyond those, we're still not done with shoes, considering that now Sonic will be real, with the real-life Sonic movie shoes that have been made. First, there was the pair made by who else but Puma themselves, in collaboration with the custom shoemakers, the Shoe Surgeon. Released alongside the movie, these are made fully from the ground up to resemble Sonic's footwear. And I'm no shoe guy, but I can just tell these are pretty sick MFs. They got a flat-out, just dope look and just look so clean. Plus, they got these logos of Puma, as well as the Shoe Surgeon. And beyond that, they came in a premium box which included socks and gold packaging. Why this was such a luxury, you may ask? Well, that's because they only made 5 of them. Yeah, 5. Released only as a promotion. And because of that, these things have skyrocketed in value. So if you wanted to pick these up, you're gonna have to pick up some credit card debt alongside. Also, me while editing this, fun fact, did you know that Hotline Sawani owns a pair? However, if you still want real-life movie shoes, now you'd be in luck. Considering that for Sonic 2, Phila teamed up with Sega to once again make Sonic shoes a reality. And while the Puma ones were extremely limited, these ones were actually released to the public. And gotta say, these two did the shoes justice. While they aren't as majestic as the Puma ones, they're still a really cool thing to own. They nailed the look of these. It all looks so sleek with the Sonic 2 branding done just right, with a cool Sonic themed box as well as a logo inside the shoe. These things are just Giga Chad merch. Though if we keep on the topic of replicating Sonic's look, it would bring us to GE's other cosplay item, being their Sonic and Knuckles gloves. Gotta say, the Sonic one's pretty generic. I mean, they're literally just basic cartoon gloves. So in order to remedy that, they decided to put this fat logo on the damn thing so you know that these are Sonic's gloves. Like, why couldn't they just have done the Chad embroidered look that the Nippon shoes did? I mean, I guess they kinda had to put a logo somewhere on it to make it look unique, but I mean, come on, there's better ways to do this. But either way, hella mid. However, if we take it over to Knuckles, these ones are way cooler. I mean, the reason for that wasn't really in their control, considering Knuckles just has a more unique glove design, but they still end up being better than Sonic's. But of course, you can't have greatest in entertainment Sonic the Hedgehog plush cosplay gloves without that dumb logo. Speaking of GE, another thing they made, of course, was their iconic Sonic hat. Originally released for colors, this thing's become an all-out classic. And that's probably because the thing's designed really well. Like, they took Sonic's key features from his head and translated it really well into this. Like, they had the eyebrows and the ridge that goes along it. It was just such a super smart touch. And the same thing goes to the other cosplay hat, Amy. Just like Sonic, she's got all her key details, but most notably her hair, which was done really well. Gotta say, for what these are, they're extremely good. Like, it looks like you scalped Sonic and Amy, they're that accurate. On to another well-known company, being Jazzwares. They made a hefty amount of stuff that wasn't just figures or plushes, so of course it's a bunch of in-game stuff. Firstly being this ring accessory. It's pretty basic, probably just being a gold hollow ring, but it's still pretty cool, considering that it makes sounds when you press it. For what it's worth, this thing's actually decent. However, the other things they made were these two masks of Sonic and Shadow. I'm hesitant to even count these since they're pretty basic, and pretty much fall in line with something like a Halloween costume. But yeah, might as well. They're pretty standard all things considered, having a flat look and not too much detail. But to be fair, I do like how they did the eyes, being completely see-through and having the pupils be one way. Makes it feel higher quality. But I don't know, these things always just seemed a bit goofy to me, honestly. However, another company who tried out the Sonic mask market was our old friend Tomy. In 2014, they released the Sonic mask, which on first glance was pretty similar to the Jazzwares one, having the same eyes and overall look. However, they gave him the extra kills Boom Sonic has, and as opposed to the mega boring Jazzwares ones doing nothing, this one has the ability to light up. And honestly, it looks pretty cool when all lit up. It goes around his eyes and face, and it gives you serious movie vibes. Only downside of this thing though is that it's totally fitted to kids, which makes it pretty funny when adults try to put it on. But one thing with Tomy is that while they did make this mask, they're also gonna make these toy replicas of Sonic's shoes, but this time for Boom. These are pretty mysterious, and there's only a handful of pics of them from Toy Fair, but honestly, these look pretty sick. They do seem kinda cheap, with being made of what appears to be just plastic, but from what I can tell, this black part on the bottom seems to be a strap, so chances are you would have just slipped these over as covers to your regular shoes. Still though, these would have been greatly appreciated. I'll do a kind of random one. Here's the 2016 Sonic Boom Fire and Ice Carl's Jr. promotion, including 4 toys. Most of them aren't of interest to us, like the ball, board game, and statue. However, the coolest one here, hands down, is the replica communicator watch. Based off the watches the gang had in the TV show, it's not entirely accurate to the ones in the show, having generic fire and ice branding and renders all over it. And it's such a unique thing, I'm glad they did. Plus, it's got a little compartment inside that you can put your Wii. Going back to rings though, there's a ton of those they made over the years. Like for example, the recent Sonic Movie 2 RC set, which includes this ring as a controller. Not sure you want to use this in a cosplay or anything though, since it's got a bunch of buttons and doodads on it. It's really cool though, and I'm glad they molded it after something actually from the movie and not just a generic controller. Moving on though, the natural habitat of ring replicas seems to be in collector editions. Like for example, the European Sonic Generations Collector's Edition, which includes a number of things, including a ring. For being just a gold ring, they did a phenomenal job on this. It's super shiny and reflective, giving it a metallic look, as well as having the individual number of which ring you have out of 12,000 printed on. Super cool. And it even comes with its own little case, with the Generations logo printed on. Now this is how you do a collector's edition, though another collector's edition that pops off is the one for Sonic Mania. It's got a dope statue as well as a replica Genesis cartridge that includes a ring. And I'm gonna be honest, this one just pales in comparison to the Generations one. I mean, in reality, the rings are almost the same, just a bit different in size, and of course the numbering. But the presentation here is just night and day. Like the Generations one here for the ring has divine casing like it's a newborn child, and the Mania one is just shoving inside a piece of plastic inside the Genesis cart. It's still cool though, but goddamn that Generations one. Speaking of collector editions though, how can we forget the Sonic and the Black Knight Legendary Pack? Only released in France and Spain, this Giga Chad pack includes the game, as well as a Wii remote case that makes Caliburn real. Like I want to shake the hand of whoever was at the Sega France board meeting and said, "Ayo, Caliburn." Like this would be such a cool thing to have nowadays. But it's extremely elusive, only really showing up on French and Spanish reselling sites. After those, something else that likes to bring video games to life are conventions. Considering how marketed video games are now, companies love to make you feel like you're in the game while you're at places like E3. Starting at E3 2012, for Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transform, Sega kidnapped Danica Patrick and bought her and her car to the event. It was fully decked out with the game's logo, Sonic's head, and even Danica signed it while she was there. And if you guys watched my 4 Thesis Facts video, you would know that the car also raced at the 2012 O'Reilly Auto Parts Challenge at the Texas Motor Speedway. Though in reality the car isn't technically in the game, but it's at least worth mentioning. Instead, Danica had this green Hot Wheels sponsored car, which made it into a real Hot Wheels car, dubbed the Dana car. Then if we skip to E3 2014, we'd be in prime Sonic Boom territory, considering at the event Sega put together a massive display which created a new landscape from the game. There were palm trees, a wooden hut, crates that held up prototype Tomy merchandise, and a chalkboard that had blueprints of the game's new enemies. This was such a cool exhibit, everything here was done extremely well, and they did a great job of making Sonic's new world seem exciting. It reminds me a lot of Nintendo's E3 2016 display where they had all those Breath of the Wild statues like the Bokoblin on the wooden stand. That was dope. But this was just such a cool thing to look back on. Maybe if E3 wasn't canceled this year, we'd get something cool like this for Frontiers. That would have been so cool. Also adding in this part later, there was also a similar thing at the Licensing Europe Expo 2015 in London. It's kind of like a mini version of the E3 one, but nowhere near as cool. Didn't have any prototype merch or anything cool like that. But if only we could have gotten a real life Met Burger. Moving on to 2017, there's one more ring I want to bring up, being this ring at Sega's photo booth, in which you get your photo taken using a magic green screen and get teleported into what was supposedly Forces or Mania. I say that because from what I can tell, there's not a single one of these pictures online, so we don't really know. But anyway, above sat a ring that hung over your head, and using the stage's built-in trampoline, you would grab it for a chance to win $10,000. It doesn't look all too complex, but it's a ring, so it's here. And this setup was immortalized in the background of the legendary Sonic and Crash dance battle video, so it'll truly never be forgotten. Onto the magical year of 2018, that year's convention gave us this real-life Sonic loop. Courtesy of Puma's booth at the show, this was a giant photo op made to look like Green Hill. And while it is a tad simple, it is still really cool. They did a great job with this, with the nice-looking Sonic head and Puma logo behind you, as well as a cool display of the shoes. But even cooler than that was the IRL version of the Sonic Speedstar, housed right next to those unreleased Tails and Knuckles Pixel Pals. This is a spot-on recreation of Sonic's car. While it only really was the front half of the car, considering it's just a photo op, it all looks so sleek and the red on the wheels looks amazing. Pretty Chad display, I wonder where it is now. Oh yeah, and they also did a Crush 40 concert while they sang Green Light Ride for the game, so just putting that out there. Finally, at 2019, for Mario and Sonic at the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games, Sega put together an entire stadium for the event. It had a running track with TVs all over the place to play the game, as well as a literal rock climbing wall. It wasn't even just a prop either, you could literally climb on it. Granted, you had to sign a waiver, but still, shit was epic. Overall, I'd say I like the Boom one more, but this one's still great. However, it is totally lacking those dope statues of Mario and Sonic that were at the Tokyo Game Show that year. Those are dope. Going back to the Sonic Speedstar, another item that tries to bring it to life is of course the arcade ride. This thing would tilt and light up, with a big old Sonic on the top, and it fit 2 people inside. And by people, I mean kids, with it not really being all too big. But I mean, for what it's worth, it's still a decent interpretation of the car. But that's Sonic though, just looking at the kids. Moving on to another form of merchandise, sustenance. There's been a surprising amount of food that tries to replicate that shown in Sonic's world. So let's start with the 20th anniversary Sweets Paradise Cafe. First there was the one in Osaka, which gave us such classics as the Knuckles power drink, but we're interested in the Sonic Speed of Sound chili dog. Of course, supposed to emulate the ones found in the games. The winner is served alongside what else but golden onion rings, as well as having a nice little goal stuck on the top via a toothpick. And while the whole thing being wrapped in a pink bow would have been appreciated, I suppose it wasn't necessary. Fucking was though. But besides that, if we move over to the location in Tree Village, we can find yet another chili dog. It's overall pretty similar, but instead of a tomato, you get this cool edible Sonic cookie thing, and this one ditched the goalpost. However, what's easily the coolest item of the promotion was no doubt the Chocolate Chip Sundae Supreme. Based off the Hyper Chat ice cream from Sonic Unleashed, this thing brings it to life. You got basically everything you would want, and it's so nice looking. It does take a few creative differences from the one in the game, like being in a cup instead of a cone and having this edible chip render on it. But who cares, this is a fat W for Sweets Paradise. Though if we want to talk more chili dogs, there's an opposite of short supply. Starting with the Joy Polished chili dog, it was once again released for Sonic's 25th anniversary. It was a more basic dog, with its defining feature being its cheese. It's got this nice zigzag cheese powder that looks pretty good, not gonna lie, and they always promoted it for events like Sonic's birthday. Plus, I'm pretty sure it's the origin of that render of Sonic with the cup and the chili dog. After that, there was a chili dog that was served at Hooters in 2017 for the Sonic Forces promotion. I won't be real with you, this one just looks fucking disgusting. But the other ones look pretty good, but this one's just ew. And to differ itself from those, I guess, they put onions on it. Ew, cringe. I will say though, it is worth it just for those damn coasters. After that, we got the one from the Sonic X Komita coffee shop promotion. It comes in a Japanese kopipan, as well as having the option to get an acrylic keychain alongside for an extra price. And other than that, there really isn't much to say about it. Sonic wearing an apron though. Moving on, we get to a pretty weird one. For Tokyo Game Show 2020, Sega's website included several at-home recipes that you could follow to make food from all different Sega games. And one that was included was the chili dog from Sonic Generations. While it was a bit inaccurate, why are there pickles? It looks really cool when it's done. I like how they based it off the Generations one specifically, it really adds a nice touch. And now I could sleep at night knowing that Sega avenged themselves for them making one with the goddamn pink ribbon on it. And finally, the BuzzFeed Chili Dogs. In December 2019, promotion for the Sonic movie, Paramount teamed up with our good old friend BuzzFeed to bring the chili dogs right to you. 8 winners were selected to receive 3 dozen frozen chili dogs. Gotta say, hats off to them. Out of all the giveaways, they could have done like a TV, a PS4, a Simpson house, no chili dog. Though apparently they didn't even include the buns, like what the fuck. So that's a look at all the Sonic merch that replicates things in the games that aren't real. God, I should have thought of a better name. This one was a doozy. There's been a lot of stuff with very weird and specific backstories that made me very angry, but it was fun to look at all this cool stuff and see what happens when Sega tries to make Sonic's world a part of our own. But anyway, thanks for watching, and as I've stated several times, my main goal of 2022 is to reach 10,000 subscribers, and we're already at 6, so if everyone smashes the red box below, I'll be a happy boy. So subscribe right now or your soul is mine, in 5 Nights at Freddy's 3, a horror ride built just for me.